After 5 decades on the ground, supersonic travel could soon return to US skies. The FAA has proposed ending a 1973 ban on overland flights that travel faster than the speed of sound, replacing it with noise-based rules. Now, if approved, commercial supersonic jets could be flying by 2029. To tell us more, I'm now joined by Danish. Danish, please tell us what this is all about.
That's correct. After a 5-decade ban, we can expect supersonic commercial flights to fly over the US skies, say sometime at the end of this decade. But this proposal is rather coming in that point in time when we are seeing that the entire aviation sector globally is moving towards sustainability. But this is a significant, progress that we can expect in the US skies. And to talk and to understand more that what really this could mean for the entire global aviation landscape, we have been joined by Mr. Mark Martin. He's the founder of Martin Consulting. Mr. Martin, thanks so much for joining us. First of all, sir, I would like to know that considering that the FAA has just come out with this proposal and there is a time period of 45 days for public comments, first of all, how do you look at this step by the FAA for bringing back the supersonic flights over the US skies?
It's always a pleasure being with you on NDTV. Supersonic flights existed till 2003 and 4. Air France and British Airways operated the Concorde. Now, in the case of the Concorde, one of the biggest challenges was sound, noise regulations, which is prevalent in most airports, and noise regulations created a lot of issue. But now, I just want to put one very important fact out there. Today, some of our current business jets and some of our passenger airliners fly nearly at the edge of the speed of sound. 0.85, 0.9293 Mach is what current on-market business jets are already flying. In fact, some business jets fly at 0.95 to 98 Mach. So almost on the edge of the speed of sound. Modern technology, modern engines, modern aerodynamics has made aircraft fly faster, higher and faster. So it's not something which is a rarity. I'm sure it can come back. The only issue that comes into play is noise levels during takeoff and landing. Back in the day of the Concorde, those engines were extremely high thrust, which produced that kind of speed of Mach 1 plus Mach 2. Today, even if we can have passenger flights and passenger travel at Mach 1.1 or 1.2 is more than sufficient to create efficiency.
Right. So we are also seeing that this particular draft proposal by the FAA has come in that point when we are seeing that, the entire globe is rushing towards sustainability. We have the CORSIA mandates that has to be followed by all the regulators globally. So within these scheme of things, do you feel that this development might supersede the CORSIA and the SAF blending that the world is talking about?
I think very well pointed out. The biggest challenge today has got to do with the price of jet fuel, because for an aircraft to fly nearly at the edge of speed of sound or at the speed of sound, fuel burn will be much, much higher. SAF and sustainable fuels, including the current EU regulations, also has to be looked at. The European Union at the moment is maintaining a status quo on supersonic flight, except that that's for civilian supersonic flight. For military, of course, there is no restriction. Having said that, one of the biggest concerns I have with this cost. What will be the cost of that ticket? The Concorde, flying on the Concorde from Paris to New York or London to New York was almost double the price of a normal first-class ticket on British Airways or Air France. So the concern I have today is it's a great concept. It's wonderful that we're going to restart supersonic flight, but that'll come at an exorbitant cost. And that is something which has to be balanced at some point. Current market dynamics don't really support supersonic to its fullest capability, although it's a wonderful thing to have again. The big issue I have, as you rightly pointed out, is the price of jet fuel and mostly regulations and flying over highly dense airfields and airports with a large public population catchment.
Right. So, considering that the FAA has taken the first step for this, do you feel that the other regulators like the EASA or probably the UKCAA, they might also tweak certain regulations and even they can bring the supersonic flights back on the European skies?
I'm sure Europe will consider supersonic flights between Europe and the US. But remember, when you have supersonic flights, you also need to create separate air routes because you can't put those aircraft with existing routes. You know, even if you get a flight level which is quite free and vacant, a supersonic flight is going to arrive much faster and mess up the entire arrival sequence. So there will be some level of rethinking, realignment, and restructuring of airspaces as well as regulations from that perspective. But I think the European Aviation Safety Agency is extremely progressive, and they have the regulation in place. The Concorde was flying as late or early as 2004, which is about 26, 27 years ago. So the regulations are in place. They just have to look at whether they want to bring them back online, obviously, with the newer aircraft technology that's been developed by the US. With more efficient engines and and a bit more silent engines. Again, if I might add, today some of the on-market business jets already fly near to the edge of the speed of sound. The Gulfstream flies at almost 0.98 Mach. So it just nudges the speed of sound. So we already have that kind of aircraft on available today. It's 1.2 to 1.5 Mach is the concern.
Right. So, considering that Boom Supersonic is one of the companies in the US that has taken an edge over on this particular aspect, so do you feel that if things actually progress in a very positive way, then can Boom Supersonic become one of the major manufacturers for this? And considering that Boeing and Airbus, they have also done certain studies on supersonic flights. So, do you feel that if things progress really well, then probably Boom Supersonic could have an edge over the legacy players?
You know, Airbus, correction. Boeing was supposed to come out with a supersonic transport (SST) aircraft in 1999 2000, but they shelved it to bring out the 787. So supersonic has always been the obsession of Boeing. Airbus experimented with supersonic technology, but from a broader air transport sustainability perspective, Airbus chose to improve the A320 and come to the A350 platform. Fundamentally, supersonic is a brilliant idea. The only concern I have is it comes at what cost? Boom Aerospace and their aircraft, which is quite path-breaking, um, is going to come with an extremely expensive price tag. All that supersonic newer technology comes at a price, and it boils down to the propensity of which airline can afford it or who can afford it. I know United Airlines has confirmed its interest for Boom and several other U.S. airlines, but I don't think Asian airlines, in the current financial mess they are in, uh, as a result of the Middle East crisis and higher fuel prices and so on, I don't think we're going to toe the line with such a heavy price tag aircraft. Maybe in times to come, maybe if some far more progressive airlines, the ones in Japan, for example, or Korea, where they connect the US on a daily basis, those are markets that might go supersonic. But we're not confident, or rather, I'm not too confident whether India or the whole of Europe will consider it, considering congested airspaces, spacing, and so on.
Right, sir. So many thanks for speaking to NDTV Profit. It was a pleasure speaking to you, and thank you for breaking this down for our viewers.
Thanks so much, Dan. It's great to be with you on NDTV. Always a pleasure.